I am Utkarsh Raj, roll number 250 1464 from section F, and I'll be talking about the India's energy security and the Middle East crisis, their challenges and solutions. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and energy plays a crucial role in sustaining its growth. However, India is heavily dependent on imports for its energy needs, especially crude oil. Nearly 85% of India's crude oil are imported in nature, with a significant amount of it coming from the Middle East, including countries like Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, and United Arab Emirates. This heavily dependence makes India vulnerable to geopolitical tension and conflict in the Middle East region. The, the subtitle will be Importance of the Middle East for India's Energy Needs. The Middle East holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world and acts as a key supplier of India's energy needs. A major portion of this oil shipment is also shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the busiest and the most sensitive of the energy routes in the world. Any disruption in this route can severely impact the global energy oil supply. India's reliance on the Middle East is not due to its proximity but also due to long standing trade relations, favorable pricing, and established supply chain. Therefore, stability in this region is crucial for India's energy and security needs. Impact of Middle East crisis in India, which is the war which is happening in the Middle East, will be rise in the oil prices. We all know that during the conflict of the Middle East, global oil prices they tend to rise very sharply. This directly affects India's leading to our fuel prices rising, whether it be diesel, the LPG, or any other energy resource. All of them rises. The supply disruption due to temporary uh, closing of the Strait of Hormuz, the transportation of the oil tanker from the Strait of Hormuz it decreases. The decrease in supply of LNG, LPG from the Strait of Hormuz, as we can see even recently, that is certainly feeding into the lack of petroleum in our own country. Again, the inflationary pressure happens because oil is a major source of transport and also a raw material for many of the resources. So what happens is once the raw material itself price increases, it's feed into the entire loop and the price of the entire loop it increases. So there is a inflationary pressure. Our current account deficit it will also increase, that is the amount of import of goods that we are having from the rest of the world it will increase. There is also an energy security concern, that is depending on a very unstable region can lead to energy security concern for a country. There are certain strategies which can help us to overcome these challenges. Diversification of energy sources. India should reduce its dependence on the Middle East. Instead, it should also focus on other regions like the Russia, United States, Brazil, the South American countries. This will also help. And development of strategic petroleum reserves. Already, India is undertaking this. There are vast storage tankers which are being developed on the eastern and the western coast of the country, so that energy can be stored, that is oil can be stored in these. And the India currently has about 14 days of oil storage in these reserves. It has to increase to almost like 90 days. We have to promote renewable energy on a very big scale, that is India should heavily invest in the renewable energy, whether it be the hydro energy, whether it be the solar energy, the wind energy. All these energies India has to invest in. Also the new technologies like the green hydrogen technology, India also has to invest in these resources. The domestic production of the country should also increase. Certainly we do have natural gas reserves which are yet to be excavated. These are generally in the Krishna and the Godavari river belt. These can be excavated and proper energy can be drawn out of them, so that we can be a little bit less dependent on the other countries. And certainly we have to increase the energy efficiency, that is our machines, our cars, the vehicles, all these things have to improve. uh, Last but not the least, though it will be a step backward, but India can always switch to coal which we have a vast reserve of. And certainly, as we see of today, a large number of a large number of coal-based thermal power plants which can fuel the electricity and which can later be used in our own households, appliances like electric cookers or electric heaters. All these things can be done so that we reduce our dependence on the foreign countries, particularly the Middle East countries. This can also help in a way that it can reduce the pollution also, because all these things, the power being generated will be all a point source pollution, so they will be certainly away from the main cities and they can be captured through proper method and through carbon sequestration, so that they can be stored for a very long time. So this can also be done. The conclusion is India dependence on the Middle East is causing us vulnerability. It is causing us vulnerability whether the energy resources are there, whether our current account deficit is there, whether our energy security is there, or uh, whether our appliances need to be kept running. So all these things can be overcome in a number of ways, as I've already mentioned. Thank you.